Okay, so we already did a lesson on completing equations using the addition and subtraction properties, and so hopefully you already have in your mind something I'm going to say, right? Which is we are going to look at the structure of the equations. We're not number crunching, right? This is a really important habit of mine that mathematicians have in order to find missing parts of equations, and sometimes the number crunching actually hurts. And so that's what we're doing here. Now, what's cool about this lesson that I love is that we're going to go through identifying these properties and then filling in blanks. That's how it's built. 3 different properties, 3 different practices. But we're really going to do it through like an inquiry lens. Like, you're going to discuss the commutative property and evaluate the 4 operations and let the students kind of decide about each operation and generate an example. And I think that's going to be really powerful for helping the students like internalize these and make sure that they are making sense of them, not just listening to you drone on and on and on and on. Perhaps like you feel I'm doing in this video. So anyway, first question, like how do properties and rules simplify computation? This is just a way of asking like how do some of the big ideas we have about adding and subtracting help us fill in some blanks or make finding numbers easier. So something like 6 plus blank equals 2 plus 6, right? Well, they can let us look at how the equation's built and say, okay, I want the same on both sides, so this must be a 2, right? And so we did that with the addition properties, right? We talked about the turnaround rule, which is the commutative property. We talked about the associative property. We talked about the zero property. So now we're going to look at it with multiplication, now that we've been working on multiplication and division. You're going to help me. So I'll tell you the property, and then I want you to think about which operations are the property and which aren't. Ready? The commutative property states that the answer is the same no matter what the order you do the operation. Okay, so I want you to think about that. The answer stays the same even if you do it in a different order. Think about the operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. I want you to decide with a partner right now which are addition or which are commutative and which are not. Which properties can you switch the order and still get the same answer? Let them talk for a minute, right? And then generate those together. So addition is commutative. Who can give the group an example? 2 plus 4 equals 4 plus 2, right? So this is really nice for doing computation because I should see the same things on both sides of the equal sign, right? Subtraction is not commutative. And guys, this is so important that you spend some time really talking about it, right? This is I have 3, they want 1, do I have enough? Yes. This is I have 1 and they want 3, do I have enough? No. And I'm mentioning that because we have a song that they've learned in the earlier grades. If you don't know it, ask a friend. That should help them really identify these are the same. One way to think of it is but we still see, you guys, late into high school, kids switching these or seeing this and wanting to just turn it into 3 minus 1 because they want to get an answer, right? So even saying this is a positive number, this is actually what we call a negative number. You get a negative answer because it's like you have $1, but you owe someone 3. You're in trouble, right? So subtraction is not commutative. Multiplication is, right? And talk about why. Talk about how you could draw an array and turn it, right? So 3 by 6. And, whoops, pretend that looks right. And then a 6 by 3, so. But then, and this is really important, division is not. So just like we would say, I have blank and they want blank, we kind of say the same thing. I have 8 to share between 2 people, right? Versus I have 2 to share between 8 people. And maybe you guys did that sub in problem of the day, and you can even talk about the sub, right? If I have 8 to share with 2 people, right, they can each get 4. If I have 2 to share with 8 people, they get a fraction. So this is really important. So now we want to fill these in These are all multiplication, so what we can do, since they're multiplication and multiplication is commutative, is we just say, oh, these are the same, so I need a 3 to balance that out. These are the same, so I need a 5. Oh, I need these to be the same, 4. Easy. Let the kids fill those in, right? Okay, now the identity property. The identity property states the number stays the same whenever the operation is performed. So in other words, whatever we do to this 8 with addition, we get the same answer 8. Whatever we do to this 8 with subtraction, we get the same answer 8. Whatever we do to this 8 with multiplication, we get the same answer 8. Whatever we do to division, we get the same answer. So different operations have different numbers for the identity property. That's really important. Here, you can ask them, what needs to go in this blank? 0. With addition, 0 is the identity. Meaning when I add 0, I still get 8. What about subtraction? 0. That's the identity. No, this is where teachers, you're going to pause and have everybody really think, what's the identity with multiplication? It's 1. Oh, so it's a different. Why is it 1? Maybe someone explains it as one group of 8. Or if you have 8 groups and there's only 1 in each, it's still 8. That's great. But really, go ahead and explain it and draw it out. And then guess what? 1 is the identity for division, right? Because I'm just taking 8 split by one person, they just get 8. So notice what I'm doing. In each of these explanations, I'm going back to meaning. The meaning of multiplication, which is groups. The meaning of division, which is split, right? And I'm drawing a contrast here to say, okay, so just if you see 8 times 0, don't get going really fast and being like, oh yeah, 8, because 0 keeps it the same. That's just for addition, right? Let's go ahead and fill these in then. 9 times 1, 9. Great. 2 times 1, 2. 4 times 1, 4. Okay. Last one, the 0 property. Now you do the same thing here that you did with addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, in the sense that you say, I want you to think about each operation and see which one you think has a 0 property. The 0 property says when the answer is 0, whenever the operation is performed with a 0. So go ahead and think, okay? And this one, so teachers, I encourage you, like pause the video, think about it, fill this in yourself, see if you can really read this and figure it out. Because that's kind of thinking we want our kids to be able to do. They're practicing problem solving right here. So addition has no 0 property, right? If I do 3 plus 0, I don't get 0. That's what the 0 property says, right? The answer is 0 when I perform the operation with a 0. So not addition, not subtraction, right? 4 minus 0 doesn't make 0. Multiplication, yes. Why? Why? Teachers, ask why the 0 property makes sense. I hope you're thinking something along the lines of 0 groups of 3. 0 groups is going to give me 0. Or 3 groups with 0 inside is going to give me 0. Division actually doesn't do the 0 property. When I divide something by 0, it's called undefined. You can't split something by 0 groups and do the operation. So we call that undefined. That's kind of a special case. We don't need to worry about that today. So here we go. We can fill this in, right? This could be anything. And that's it. Then they're just practicing, right? And again, notice no number crunching. I'm just thinking about the properties and balancing these, thinking about the equal sign of that seesaw.